It happened when I was 17. I'm 20 now, so this was about 3 years ago. A night that started out just like any other shift at Walmart. A long walk home turned into something that still keeps me awake sometimes, heart pounding in my chest at the memory. It was late summer, the kind of night where the heat still lingers in the air, even after the sun has long set. I had just finished my shift working as a retail associate at my local Walmart. It wasn't glamorous, but at 17, it was decent money, and I liked the sense of independence it gave me. My parents never liked me working late shifts, but I reassured them our town was safe. Or at least I thought it was. I made my way to the bus stop, pulling out my phone to check when the next bus would arrive. And that's when my stomach sank. Delayed. By 2 hours. 2 hours? No way. I had school the next morning, and standing alone at an empty bus stop in the middle of the night was not an option. I made a snap decision I'd walk home. My house was only a 20 to negative 30-minute walk away. It wasn't ideal, but I'd done it before. What could possibly go wrong? I plugged in my earbuds and started walking, the soft hum of music filling my ears. The streets were eerily quiet, only the occasional flickering street lamp breaking the darkness. No cars, no people. Just me, the pavement, and the distant hum of insects. A few minutes into my walk, I heard something. At first, I thought it was part of my some distant sound effect layered in the background of a song. But then, I realized it was real. An engine. Low, steady, getting closer. I turned my head slightly and saw a pair of headlights approaching from behind. No big deal, I thought. Just a passing car. But the car didn't pass. It slowed. I felt the hairs on my arms stand up. My heartbeat quickened. Still, I told myself not to overreact. Maybe they were just looking for an address. Maybe they were lost. The car crept up beside me, rolling to a near stop. I could see the driver, now middle-aged, clean-shaven, wearing a collared shirt. Not exactly the stereotype of a creep. He gave me a friendly wave. I hesitated. Then, out of politeness, I waved back. That was my first mistake. He rolled down the window and motioned for me to take out my earbuds. Against my better judgment, I did. "Hey, sorry to bother you," he said, his voice smooth, casual. "Do you know where Water Creek is?" I frowned. I'd lived in this town my whole life. There was no Water Creek. "Sorry," I said, taking a half step away from the curb. "Never heard of it." He paused, just for a second, then smiled. "Oh, that's okay. What's your name?" I felt my stomach twist, my mind screaming at me to walk away, to ignore him, to run if I had to. But years of politeness, of being told to be courteous, made me answer. "Sarah," I lied. His smile didn't falter, but something in his eyes changed. It was subtle, but I saw it. A flicker of something dark. "Sarah, huh? Pretty name. You sure you don't know Water Creek? Maybe it's just outside of town?" I shook my head, stepping back. "I really don't know, sorry. I should go." The pause this time was longer. I felt my pulse hammering in my throat. And then, just when I thought he'd finally drive away, he did something that sent ice flooding through my veins. He reached over and unlocked his passenger door. "Well, maybe you could hop in and we could look together. I got a map in here." My breath caught. My body locked up in pure fear. Every fiber of my being screamed at me to run. "No, I have to go," I stammered, my voice barely above a whisper. His smile twitched, barely a shift, but I saw it. I knew what it meant. He wasn't asking anymore. He was daring me. I turned on my heel and walked away. Fast. Not running, not yet, but moving as quickly as I could without making it obvious that I was terrified. My heart pounded so loudly I was sure he could hear it. Cold sweat trickled down my back, my palms damp and shaking as I clenched my fists. The air felt thicker, heavier, like I was being dragged through it. Every nerve in my body screamed at me to bolt, but I forced myself to keep a steady pace, even as the overwhelming sensation of being watched made my skin crawl. The car didn't move. I could feel his eyes on me, feel the weight of his gaze pressing against my back like a physical force. Then, the sound that nearly made me scream. The slow creak of the car door opened and deliberate, drawn out, as if whoever was inside wanted me to hear it. My breath hitched, my body frozen in place for a split second before my brain caught up with my instincts. My mind raced through the possibilities. Was he getting out? Was he reaching for something? A weapon? The silence that followed was even worse than the sound itself, pressing down on me like a suffocating weight. I felt my pulse hammering in my throat as I strained to listen, every nerve in my body screaming at me to run. I ran. I didn't look back. I didn't care if I looked stupid. I sprinted down the street, lungs burning, legs pumping, my only thought, get home. I heard his footsteps behind me. Heavy, quick. But there was something unnatural about them, almost like he wasn't running on pavement, but on something softer, something that didn't belong there. I cut through a yard, hopping a low fence, nearly tripping in my panic. I heard a curse behind me, a grunt of frustration. I kept running. A porch light flicked on in one of the houses ahead. An old woman peered out her window. I didn't hesitate. I ran up her steps and pounded on the door. She opened it just as I turned to look behind me. He was gone, vanished into the night. No running footsteps, no slamming car door, just gone. The woman let me in, offered me a glass of water as I tried to catch my breath. I hugged her, shaking, barely able to speak. She called my mom, and we called the police. They searched the area. No car, no footprints, nothing. A few days later, I found out just how lucky I was. Another girl, about my age, had gone missing that same week. They found her body 5 miles outside of town. The details were gruesome. I won't repeat them. But the description witnesses gave of the man she was last seen with? A middle-aged man, clean-shaven, collared shirt, driving a 2004 Honda Accord. I never walked home alone again. And sometimes, late at night, when my house is quiet, I swear I hear the slow creak of a car door opening outside my window. But when I look, there's nothing there, only the empty street, bathed in dim orange light. Yet, in the reflection of the glass, just for a split second, I swear I see the faintest outline of a man watching from the shadows.